From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Brayden Neville.
Hello and welcome to Ticats Today here on the Ticats Audio Network. I'm Brayden Neville here on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023, and it was a smoky one again out there today. The smoke keeps getting worse, it seems like, all over different parts of Canada, and it is definitely something that's noticeable out there. Players did say it wasn't a bother for them. No players were complaining about it. The coaching staff saying the same thing. So that's definitely going to be something the CFL and teams monitor as the weeks go on. We have another jam-packed show for you today, and we will be hearing from Coach O, Tunde Adeleke, Brandon Revenberg, Mason Bennett, and I also spoke to running backs coach Rob Payne to get his thoughts on the new PFF partnership between the CFL and PFF. That will see those new player and position analytics be used in the CFL. Before we get to that, the CFL released their annual CFL Top 50 Players list, and of course, as always, came with some controversy. I mean, it's going to happen anytime someone puts out a list. You can literally see a list of top 10 pizzas on Google, and I'm sure someone's going to be upset about it. But this one did have its fair share backlash as expected. The Ticats, they had 7 players appear on the list, which was the third most among CFL teams behind the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Calgary Stampeders. So the 7 players from the Ticats who made the list were Tim White. He was at number 15. Bo Levi Mitchell at number 20. Brandon Revenberg, number 22. Jameer Thurman at number 25. James Butler at number 33. Tunde Adeleke at number 35. And Jagarrett Davis at number 42. So honestly, I think there are certainly some players on this Ticats roster that could have been on the list, but that's why I'm not making the list. I'm not voting. This is all CFL writers from around the league, and this is who they felt was the top 50 in the league this year. So it is what it is. In terms of positions, the 11 receivers is the highest amount of any position on the list. So receivers had the most amount of guys in that top 50, and the first receiver being Edmonton Elks' Eugene Lewis, who had the impressive season last year with the Alouettes, registering 91 receptions for 1,303 receiving yards, and also added a nice little 10 touchdown receptions. Coming in at number 1 on the list was quarterback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Zach Collaros. I spoke to 2 members of the Ticats that were on that top 50 list, Tunde Adeleke and Brandon Revenberg, and we will hear from them in just a bit. But first, I spoke to Coach O, and he stressed that the only thing on the minds of the team right now is preparing for Winnipeg. Okay, Coach, with those smoky conditions out there, has that been affecting players at all during practice?
No. I mean, is it noticeable? Absolutely. You can't see, whatever the distance is in there, but once the whistle blows, we're ready to work. Once we got the thumbs up from whoever they are that we're in the safe zone, we were ready to go to work. We were also prepared to, do the right thing. If it was heading the other way, we'd be off the field. Like I said, if you watched us practice, I think we were locked in. I think we were super efficient. I think coaches, everybody were prepared for it, meaning we knew that there was a chance we may not practice. There's a chance we practice. Was it 100%, the way it would be normally? No, but it wasn't a distraction for us. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I leave that to the experts. If they give the thumbs up, absolutely we could play a game in that. If you can't see the end zone or something or something like that, then it could pose some challenges. But again, once we were just waiting for the thumbs up from the experts and whatnot, and then once we got that, everybody was locked in.
The CFL just announced that partnership with the PFF, the analytics system. Is that something you feel will be of value for teams around the league?
Yeah, no opinion. I won't speak for other teams. I always like being innovative, creative, trying to be better, so I'm always in support of that. Really, the focus is on Winnipeg.
That was Coach O, and as I mentioned before, that new PFF system that will be partnering with the CFL this season, well, there is one coach on this Ticats training staff at least that has already been using this system in his coaching philosophies, and that is running backs coach Rob Payne, who has entered his first year as the Ticats RB coach, and I wanted to ask him about his thoughts on the new partnership and more. All right, Coach, that first game coming up now on Friday against Winnipeg, a team the Ticats have had a lot of matchups with over the years, some very meaningful ones. What's it like to start the season off against Winnipeg?
I think it's an awesome opportunity to stand up and set the tone for what the season's going to be. And there's nothing like going up against, a perennial strong team over the last years. And so I think it's a great opportunity for the boys to stand up and see what it's like and what it's going to take to be successful this year.
Now you've gotten the chance to work with this running backs group over the last few weeks. James Butler, what have you been able to see from him?
Yeah, James is, he's a veteran. He's a true pro. He's detail-oriented. He's always in the room. He's asking questions. He's making sure everyone around him is right. He understands, the importance of having a strong group. And so that's priority number one for him, is to make sure everyone around him is good. And he's just awesome for the young guys to be around and see how it's been for him. Because he's had his up and down, so he's able to get the young guys and tell them what it's like and how he got to where he is.
And obviously Sean Thomas Earlington, he's been out with injury, but what have you seen from him maybe as a leader and as a veteran presence around that locker room?
Yeah, Sean is another strong veteran that he's been around not only the CFL, but predominantly, around Tommy and the Hamilton Ticats themselves. So he knows what it's like to be a Ticat and, the culture here. He's always around helping. He always wants to try and stay abreast of what's going on. And he's always helping, even James Butler, because it's a new language, for James. And Sean's been with Tommy for a number of years now, and so he's able to integrate, help integrate James the best he can. And that's really, you can tell the running back room, they're all great teammates, awesome group of young men, and they all care about each other a lot. And it's awesome to see that, with your own eyes, to see a group of guys that are ultimately competing against each other, but to really care about each other more than their selfish desires to play.
And James mentioned yesterday when I was chatting with him that maybe you look at the game a little differently than some of the running back coaches you had in the past. You're more analytical. You're studying defenses statistically a little bit more maybe. With this new PFF system coming out, how do you feel that's going to affect maybe the way teams look at the game?
Yeah, PFF, when I heard what it did, it's really how I've always done my work. When I've been in the CFL, I started in 2017 and as an offensive quality control coach in Edmonton, and so a lot of my days were spent on the analytical side of it. I've played defense my whole life, and I've been more of a defensive guy. So my first year, I didn't know anything about offense, and we had 13-word play calls, and there's 12 guys in the huddle, so I didn't really know what was going on. So I kind of went back to my roots because I used to work in finance, so numbers made sense to me. So I was able to kind of find a niche in numbers and in the analytical game. And, then Jason Moss was a head coach at that point, so he leaned on me a little more on that side. And ultimately he brought me to Saskatchewan in 21 to help him again with that side of things. So when I heard what PFF does, it's really fun to have that at your fingertips. And then there's always an aspect of subjectivity to it, and so context. So numbers are numbers, but what do those numbers mean to you? Mm-hmm. And so it's easy to be able to go to PFF and get certain reports or certain data, and then with the cut-ups that you can go and get cut-ups made at a click of a mouse instead of having to watch every single play and make your own cut-up. So it's good it's a good program that helps expedite your daily processes, and I've used it quite a bit so far. So I'm excited to see how far it goes, and how far we can work with it. But so far it's been pretty good.
Yeah, well, that helps me a lot because I've been reading into it, and that's the best way I've heard it described to me. So thank you for that. And one last question: that first game with the Ticats here on Friday, are you fired up to get the show started here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's being an analytical guy. I've always been in the booth, so this year I'm on the sideline, so that's a whole new experience for me, especially in Winnipeg. Having been out west most of my career, I know how loud it gets there and played many games there, including a West final. So I'm excited to be on the sideline. I'm excited to interact more with the guys during the game and during the season, and really be around Coach Gibson more, because I work closely with him and I had the opportunity to work with him in Edmonton. But I wasn't with him as much as I am this year, so that's very exciting for me. And I'm just excited to get the season going. It's been 4-6 weeks now, and it's time to get going. So I think everyone's fired up, and I'm right there with them.
That was Coach Rob Payne, a very smart football mind, and it's really interesting just to hear him break down that PFF system. It really explained it a little more for me. It's not really something that's easy for someone to just read and understand completely what all these analytical numbers are and what they're going to mean and what this system is going to bring to the league. So it was great just to chat with him about that. Now, another Ticat I wanted to catch up with, well, that's Mason Bennett. The Ticats vet is a key factor on defense and is always generous with his time to chat with me. So I just wanted to pick his brain on the upcoming season, that upcoming game with the Blue Bombers, PFF joining the league, and more. First game coming up on Friday. Are you excited to get things underway here and play that first one?
Of course, and obviously being back in the hometown always makes it a little bit more fun to be in front of tons of family and friends. So, but yeah, ready to get this season going.
Now, on a game day, if you don't mind, take me through what's your daily. Do you have a routine? Are you superstitious? What are you doing on game day?
For these later games, I usually try not to eat too much. Just the pressure building up throughout the days kind of doesn't make my stomach feel the greatest. But try to hydrate, get some good fruit in, some good food in. Just keep my mind locked in. Like I said, for these later games, it's a marathon of a day just to keep yourself focused and not build up too early. So I like to keep it almost away from football and right before game time, kind of bring it all back in and get the energy going.
Now, playing a team like Winnipeg on Friday, obviously there's been that rivalry almost over the last several years with everything that's gone on between both teams. What is it like playing a team like them? It's
fun. I mean, this is what you want. It's big versus big, good versus good. Week one, we're going to set the tone for the season. It's going to be fun.
And then today you were clear full for practice all day. How did it feel to just be out there and just getting in those reps?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, being out here is what I love to do. And, coming out to Hamilton, living out here full time. And obviously I want to be on the field and contribute to the team as much as I can. So, no, it's great to be back out there running around having fun.
And a lot of moving pieces this year, especially on defense. How has it been maybe gelling? Are you starting to feel more adjusted to everybody on that defense?
Yeah, it's interesting. This is the most guys we've had come in since I've been here. So, since as a college football athlete, for one, you don't really have that many big changes. But as a pro athlete, you got new guys coming in weekly, guys leaving. So you kind of got to gel quick. The football world is so small. So, everyone has a connection somehow. But once we get on the field, we all know the game, and it's fun to fly around with those new guys.
Now, for a week one matchup, it's not like week 9 or week 8 where you have that film on the team. You kind of know a little bit about them. Does it make it more difficult maybe coming into a matchup?
It has its challenges. It's the same coaching staff, so you kind of you can expect what they're going to do. But like you mentioned, like week 1, they can come out with some new trick plays, stuff like that. So you almost got to play it a little bit more honest every once in a while. But at the end of the day, it's the same team. It's football. We're going to fly around and play Ticat D.
Now, I don't know if you know about this. There's that new analytics system that's come out. The NFL uses it, the NCAA uses it. What do you think? Do you think that'll help the game? Will that help your view of the game at all?
Definitely. I think it's great for the fans and social media and you guys and all that good stuff. But I think it'll be interesting, too, to see, what guys are putting out, what numbers on the field and stuff like that, and seeing maybe for matchup-wise in the future, it could be an interesting analytic to add in. So I think it's great for the game and great for the CFL.
And now with this upcoming season, do you always kind of set a goal for yourself heading in?
Yeah, definitely. I think as a defense, we have a goal of hitting 70 sacks, which is it's a huge number, but I think it's something that's doable. And then obviously bringing the Grey Cup back to Hamilton is number 1. So, we'll leave it at that.
That was defensive end Mason Bennett, who is looking forward to another season, now a veteran in the CFL, and looking forward to improving on his numbers from last year. Now, a guy who had a career season last year as a breakout star for the Hamilton Ticats, well, that was Tunde Adeleke, and in this season's CFL player rankings came in at number 35. He spoke to me today following practice. So, Tunde, how, with all that smoke, is that affecting you and the rest of the guys at all? Like, have you heard any of the guys say it's kind of bothering them at all?
No, not at all. Like, it's just an uncontrollable factor. It's something light, and it's way better than freezing in November and all that stuff. So we'll take that any day.
And now, first game coming up Friday against Winnipeg. Obviously, not an easy opponent. What's it like starting off the season against them?
It's exciting, actually. They're a team who's been in the Grey Cup the last 3 years, and it's like a gauge of how good we actually are, and I think we have a really good group back there.
I don't know if you pay much attention to this, but you were named to the top 50 players in the CFL. What does that mean to you at all?
It always feels good to be like recognized outside of the locker room, because over here the coaches and the players know how hard you work, but it's on the other side, it's just game day for them, you know. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of guys on that list that I know are top players in this league, so I don't really like mind to that.
And so obviously in a week 1 matchup, you don't exactly have the film that you would in like a week 8, week 9 matchup. So does that kind of change the way you study a team maybe coming into that first game of the season?
Yeah, you have to, again, like it's the same guys from previous years, so you kind of know what you're going up against, but every year a team changes, they got new wrinkles and things like that, so you have to be open to that, but we kind of think we know who we're going against, and we're going to go out there and play good football.
That was Tunde Adeleke. Now the final player I spoke to today, well, a fan favorite and the man with the hair, Brayden Revenberg. But Rev, he came in on that list at number 22 on the CFL's top 50 player list, and I spoke to him briefly today during media. Rev, that first game coming up Friday against Winnipeg, are you excited to get the show on the road here and get things going?
Oh, definitely. It's always nice when you can hit someone else other than your teammates.
Yeah, obviously that game against Winnipeg, you guys have a lot of history over the last several years. Is it a little different maybe playing those guys?
It's a new year. That's all it is, right? We're looking at this game. It's the first game of the season. Going to win it. That's all it is.
That was Brayden Revenberg, keeping it short and sweet, but big thanks to him for taking the time to meet with me after what was a very long day of practice and tape for all those guys on the Ticats roster today as they prepare for that game against Winnipeg. And also a big thanks to the rest of the guests on my show today. Before we go, we got some more news from the Ticats as they announced the return of the club's Made in the Hammer alternate brand. That's right. The Hamilton Ticats will be back with that steel gray and that steel gray alternate uniform. And I asked a few players just to touch on those today.
I think everyone in the locker room is excited to hear that, and it's a little like different, a little wrinkle on us, and it's like, I guess it's big for the message it gives to the city, you know, hardworking and the Hammer. So we're all excited about that, and we can't wait.
And I see you're rocking that Hamilton steel gray. What do you think about they just announced today that it'll be returning for this season?
That's exciting. You know, it's a good looking jersey.
I will say I think they're sharp. I do. I think it's a nice touch. I think it's fun.
That was a few guys touching on those new uniforms. So the Made in the Hammer alternate brand, well, it was created to honor the link between the city of Hamilton and the Ticats, while the Hamilton Steel Gray is also an ode to the city's industrial roots. So Ticats fans will see the Made in the Hammer alternate brand leading up to that Labor Day Classic, which will be presented by WeatherTech. So it will be culminating when the Ticats run onto the field in the Hamilton steel gray uniforms and take on the Argos. That's right, at Tim Hortons Field. That'll go down on September the 4th. So the Ticats will also display the alternate brand on the road for the first time ever when they wear the alternate jersey on October 7th in Saskatchewan. So if you want to get your hands on some of those alternate brands, some of that alternate brand merch, maybe get that nice gray jersey, visit the Ticats shop or shop online at ticats.ca and look for the new Made in the Hammer retail collection. So lots of exciting stuff as we get ready for that game on Friday. Game numero uno. That's right, the first one against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and it all goes down this Friday in Winnipeg. Before I go, I'd just like to say to all those people affected by the fires across the country that we are thinking of you here on the Ticats Audio Network. That's all the time for me today. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.